Hey guys, it's Candace, Trinice, and
Lil Saint.
Lil Saint's in the building, filling in for Phoebe because you guys know as long as it's Lovecraft, she is not here.
just Lovecraft. She can't craft.
So what's up? What's new? We haven't, seen you in a minute. We talked the last time you were on the show was for Self-Made.
That's so funny that we haven't seen her talk to her in a minute.
That's on the show.
It's
on
literally
the show.
has it been since what? Like
Self-Made.
that was last summer or was it this summer?
Oh
Nigga,
wow,
that was
not
this
long
year.
ago, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's how bad 2020 is. I don't even know. Was that this year
Was
or
that
was
the
it
last summer or
Yeah, just use it. I want everybody to hear you.
My bad.
was that
It's
summer
okay.
16?
No, really, like it just felt
No,
so
really,
long
it
ago.
was this year.
Okay.
So
thanks for
what's
the
new?
clarity.
What's happening?
So what's new is Saintuso will be dropping sweatsuits for the first time. For the first time. We will be dropping sweatsuits for the first time. It's looking November, December-ish, so y'all bear with me.
Okay, she should ride. She about should ride.
However, these hoodies that I got on now, they online for pre-sale.
That I also
Make
have
sure you
on.
see my dog over there with that.
That's
black
my dog.
and a Bayberry dropping this Friday for
Bayberry,
pickup.
yes.
All that. She had it first, so
I did. So all y'all gonna be my sons. Just so
basically,
y'all know. But this color is
had to
really,
hook
really
sis
nice.
up
It's
for
really
real.
nice.
These girls.
These girls.
Don't worry, we'll get you a new exclusive color.
Yeah, she said BGB, we in there. We get to pick.
They are. Y'all be my first sponsored people.
Look at that.
First sponsorship with BGB.
Y'all heard it here. You heard it. And it's on record. It's on record, guys. So if she try to renege, we got her. We don't bang with renegers.
That's true. That'll get you slapped across the table.
Yeah, I heard. But okay, we're talking Lovecraft. We've been talking about this for a while. This is a conclusion, everybody. So, I mean, we could have definitely did episode by episode, but that would have just took so long. And if you guys want that, there is a podcast that accompanies the TV show that's called Lovecraft Radio, Lovecraft Country Radio, and they go through each single episode and talk about almost every single thing. So check that out if you need more in-depth things that we weren't able to provide, fulfill and supplement your education as you need. But, Saintuso, can you tell me how you started watching this show?
Okay. So y'all know Trinice gonna come in the room and be like, what you about to do? Nothing, Mom. We about to watch this. And I was like, last time she had me watching something black, it was underground. And I was like, I don't be with all that slave stuff. But I actually ended up liking it. So I was like, I'm going to trust. And she said black horror. I was like, wait a minute. You tripping? And slavery? Wait a minute.
I did not say anything about
Well, not slavery. Segregation and
Yes,
all
yes,
that.
racism.
Wait a minute. So I was like, but what I'll say is we watched the first episode together and we both looked at each other like, think we gonna be able to watch it? You good? So I swear every episode was just like, all right, we gotta watch the next one. All right, like we had to hold each other accountable because horror ain't really my genre, and apparently, like y'all know, slavery ain't my genre either. So
That's a genre now.
shut up. You
Is
know
this
what I
a
mean?
drama or a comedy? No, it's slavery. Ma'am, get the whip. Ma'am, it's slavery.
So, anyways, we watched it. Trinice put me on, and I'll give her credit. She knows her shows, so tell
It's a BGB thing. I mean, we just don't have anybody that, we'll have those people coming up soon that'll say that Candace directly influenced them. I don't know about Fee, because you know how she be. But no, everybody has a circle that we reach out to, which has a circle. That's why it's really important.
Wow.
But the one thing I can say is when we first started watching this, we both had to be, like she said, we both had to say, like, this is not normal, but we're going to give it a try. And from that, I think I was pleasantly surprised. And as much as I was frightened, and y'all know how Candace tried to pull my card when she was like, you watch 3 of them at night talking about you don't watch it at night, wham. The one that I had to watch at night was because of these two, not through any force of my own. And the other one was the first episode.
That is a lie.
That one that we all watched that night.
That one that we all watched that night, we were waiting for Trae to come home.
And that was not through fault of my own.
I'm just saying it wasn't my fault. That's the lie.
I said, y'all.
So it was my fault, apparently.
Yes, just her. I hate when people y'all me and I didn't have nothing to do with it.
All right.
Okay, so, all right. So I asked Summer when she was on the show. Now I'm asking you, what episode, if any, made you say, if more than one, which episode made you say, I don't know if this is for me or I might need to turn away now?
Well, it was definitely the Pickaninny episodes for me. It was the Pickaninnies for me. Topsy Bopsy. Shout out to the real actresses. Y'all did y'all thing because y'all scared the hell out of me. But what I will say is, when I ever see no kids dancing near me while I'm 8-tail stomping them, I don't care.
You know those are definitely going to be Halloween costumes next year.
Definitely
Well, they said people was doing it this year. I didn't
it was
see
a whole photo shoot. I was not going to send it to you. I was not going to send it to you.
COVID this year.
Thank you. I'm just saying that.
So they're the new Leprechaun?
Ooh.
Oh, you trying me today?
I'm asking.
Yes.
You know I play a lot.
And I just what's crazy?
I want to know where I
want to
can't go.
thank you for testing me because now Justin LeBoy used that as a meme, and I was like, I'm not scared of this anymore because Candace pissed me off so bad that I had to get over it.
Could you give us some backstory? I don't think everybody knows that story. What happened?
What?
Happened with the...
So I told Candace that I would. Let me tell you how trash Candace is. Let's start there. So I told Candace that I was afraid of something. It was like a childhood fear that I did not get over for a long time. And this.
They know what it is. You said it
Yeah,
already.
just say it. Tell them where the Leprechaun
Shut
came
the
from.
hell up. This, whatever y'all want to
now she
call
want to
her,
curse me out?
whatever y'all want to call her, proceeded to send me a picture at random.
Okay, let's talk about random. We were all together, and I don't know how it came up, but it came up, and I said, no, Trae's actually afraid of it. She was like for real? I said, no, she really is. And I don't think she believed me. Like, she really thought I was joking, and I mean...
This was like 4 or 5 years ago?
It was a while ago, yeah.
Whiles back.
Whiles, yeah. And so she ended up sending her a meme with it in there. And I was like...
Was it a meme or did I just actually send the picture?
No, it was just a picture.
Oh,
it wasn't a meme.
even worse.
Yeah, I went and I looked for that picture.
This is making you sound really bad. So
I already admitted that I did it on purpose.
So then...
This is also an on-air apology she'll be dropping next, so...
I will not. I helped you. You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
Toxicity.
She's ready to be a black mother right now.
She said, she
Listen.
started this off by saying, I want to thank you.
That was
for helping
clear
me get over
sarcasm.
That's when she was singing Bow
You're
Wow
welcome.
songs. But
You're
so
welcome.
Wow.
then,
Y'all see this?
then I was like, did you really send it? She was like, yeah. I said, no, she's really afraid. Like, she's actually.
I
and then
was.
Trae was like, I hate Candace. I'm never talking to her again. But and I was like, she really did.
And I blocked her.
She did.
Blocked.
Sandra
and then
Bullock.
she unblocked me.
She was Sandra blocked for a couple months. I wasn't banging with her.
Unblocked me. Now we're so close.
Are we?
Look at us. We have the time of our lives together.
Are we? But referring
Don't
back
try me. You know we have grand time when we out
we did.
in the house together.
Right, basically.
Every time we try to make it out, we just always end up.
Girl,
So-
and that's clearly for Trae's best. Every time
Obviously.
you need to
Don't
stay in.
start.
I'm not gonna start. I'm not gonna start.
This is getting personal, guys.
Let's
Yeah.
get back
Back
to
to- yes.
the Topsy and the Bopsy. So
You
yes,
don't gotta keep beating out.
Topsy and Bopsy definitely shook my soul. Okay.
My God.
So that was episode 8, Jigabobo.
Yes. Now don't get me wrong, the concept of the episode was really good. Like the fact that this is something like black women, you know, facing these stereotypes and all that, and like them putting it in real life form, and like children, anything with children and horror is creepy.
No,
And then when you make it black, it makes it worse.
but that's because you're black, so you feel like you can relate.
This
to
was
that.
real like black children in the corn for me, and I don't like that.
I never saw Children of the Corn. There's certain things I just will not put myself through purposely. But what they were saying when I was listening to the podcast about it, they were saying like basically the Topsy and Bopsy are stereotypes. 'Cause
Right.
That's how they, the minstrel shows and things at the time. And so the one podcast host was speculating about what's going to happen if they catch her. Is it going to turn her into one? And then they were saying how black women can't be angry because we become a stereotype. We become a Jezebel. We become the angry black woman, if we express certain emotions, and that's taught from a child.
Right.
Like if you have a young girl that's like really, what's the word? Animated. There's a stereotype that'll come with that. If you have a black woman that's going to tell you, I have boundaries, I have standards, there's a stereotype that'll be attached to that. So they're basically saying like, as unfortunately in life, these things are attached to us through society because of normal things. And as much as we want to escape it, sometimes you take your arm and now you're a robot. All right, we just
Wow. That just went so far. Wow.
So far.
So, okay, we've talked about, prior to you being here, we talked about, the last episode we talked about was the one in Korea, about the nine-tailed fox and all of that. So now we're on to the episode where Topsy and Bopsy, and then we have the Tulsa episode, and then the finale. So, How do you feel about those things?
Okay, the Tulsa episode was a lot. Like, seriously. I mean, one, because I love that they're reacting things that are really, things that really happen, like the Emmett Till, that. But it's like, them going back and then tying into Montrell's life, it was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. And then the fact that Tick was the man with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
Come on.
That really sent me because I was just like, am I somewhere else doing something right now?
What would you be doing?
Saving lives, obviously.
I mean, if you had to be some historic sports figure, I'm already taking FloJo.
What? Who said he was an historic
He was
sports figure?
Jackie Robinson. That's what they was thinking that he was the whole time.
Okay, they thought he was Jackie.
That's
he
what I'm
was
saying.
Not.
I'm
He was
saying
just himself.
that's what they thought he was. That's what they were saying. And then once I watched it, I went back and I looked at the beginning sequence because they were talking about how everything was in there. And I was just like, wow, would you look at that?
Yeah, because when the first episode came on, we was like, what is this?
Yeah, I was definitely like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to last this. But then they made it a dream. And y'all, I mean, I think I went into this about the Netflix series You, how I don't like when characters be on drugs. I also am sometimes worried about, because when they on drugs, they let them do certain things and they just be like, it was the drugs. So it don't have to make sense with the plot. You know what I'm saying? Like in You, Joe was on those drugs and he did all of this stuff and it was just like, he wasn't himself. It's not normal. But it's like, no. Let me know what's real and don't keep trying to confuse me. I don't like that. So when they do that sort of stuff with dreams, it's kind of touch and go with me too. But dreams typically have this foretelling aspect that are more important than them just using drugs and doing something crazy. But I just felt like the whole leading up to the finale, I was pissed at myself. Because I felt like the whole entire show, from beginning to end, they told us what was going to happen. And I don't know if it's us. Yeah, like we just wanted to rewrite it so bad.
Because it's not that you want to rewrite it so bad. It's just like sometimes you feel like you can fight for something so bad and it can change the outcome. Sometimes you can.
Sometimes.
Not all the time. Sometimes.
And I mean, we'll see if the show gets a season 2. And
they definitely gonna get him a season 2.
Let's not be so definite.
Sometimes you be thinking.
You don't think so?
I would believe so, just because it's been so widely talked about and it's
right.
So
like
much,
Twitter be going up about Lovecraft.
That's Black Twitter though.
Lovecraft Country every Sunday. Like,
yeah, girl. Yeah, but
that's the people that you follow.
It be some.
It be some what? They can't see it on the camera. Could you?
And they be tweeting too. Shut up.
Oh, that's pretty.
Y'all about to witness an assault on this show because Candace trying me today.
Oh my God.
Don't make me pull out Topsy and Bopsy.
Okay, see?
All right.
This is why you don't let people know your weaknesses because they use them against you.
Don't tell people your kryptonite.
So episode 8. Another thing I wanted us to talk about. In episode 8, Ruby becomes that white nasty woman again. Oh, all right. Okay. She's pissed. She becomes that white woman again and she sleeps with William. And it's like really that scene. Well, I already said the last episode with Summer that I didn't like the transformation. It was very creepy and weird to me. Mm-hmm. And they were having sex and she was transforming. And I said, why did we have to go through this? But that conversation that they had at the end when it was Christina and Ruby, regular Black Ruby, and she was just like, you know, you will never understand what this is like. And, you know, us having to bury. I do love how they made Bobo Diana's best friend. Mm-hmm. I like that. Like how it feels to be that closely connected. And she was explaining it to Christina. And she was like, do you even care? Do you care? And Christina was like, no. How did that scene make y'all feel?
Child, I wanted to kill her. Cause I was like, this whole time we don't know if she's a ally or if she's against them. Because she pulled up in the Silver Rosie and saved them in the beginning. Remember, she doing all of this.
When someone saves you for their own purpose, that does
but
not
in
make
the
them an ally.
beginning, we did not know.
Yeah, we did not know her intentions.
You said this whole time. I'm saying, Nell, this time, we know. She wanted to use him. After the first, but just maybe like you second said, episode, we knew.
You know, but you just want to hope for a different outcome. Ooh. Isn't that what you said?
That you do that with you do that with white people?
Hell no.
You hope for a different outcome for yourself is what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying the fact that we, in the beginning, we didn't know how to feel about Christina because she helped them. And then it was like, and plenty of times,
by
we
episode
all felt like
2, you should have known.
We shouldn't trust her. Well, and then when she get to that, and it's like, wow, she's this close to Ruby. And then Ruby brings this vulnerable moment to her, like, you'll never understand. Like, do you care? And she's like, no. It's like,
Girl,
she was using Ruby too.
She was. My thing is this. History has shown us time and time again, the white man is easy to spot, but the white woman is the most dangerous one. It's shown us that. Because, I mean, I don't want to get into the election, but look at me. Ooh. Typically, they've been upfront about what they're going to support. They're going to have their trucks. They're going to have their tattoos. They're going to have their flags. And there be white women right in the lunchroom with you talking about, this is so crazy. So crazy. Votes for Trump. This is so crazy. I don't know what. Typically, they have either been on our side until it benefited them. Always.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
So I wasn't shocked. The thing that really, I don't understand the point, but it was a little too much for me, was when she had hired those white men to beat her and like kill her like they killed Emmett Till.
Now I like that because it showed dedication to understanding. Now I was confused because how you gonna say you don't care, but then turn around and be like, let me go get killed like Emmett Till so I can see how this feels. That was weird, but she did it. Obviously, she didn't like it, and
she was laughing when she came up.
She was keying when she came out of that water.
What?
She's like,
yeah,
I can be a nigga and live again.
Oh my God! No, I do not remember that. I thought she was crying.
No, she came.
The wetness on her face was water from the river.
So she was laughing as if like I still don't care.
No,
she was just laughing like, haha, this is
like I'm really invincible. Basically, it was like her jumping out of a plane, probably something like that.
Wow, now I extra hate her. Whoever you are, the real actress.
Don't do that.
I'm just joking.
How did you feel
about her going into that water? I mean, about going to that,
having that chained around her.
I didn't feel no way about it because she's a witch. So none of it mattered. Like,
she is actually a witch, Trae. So don't make that face. She's
no, I'm just saying she's a witch. Like the way she said it was just funny.
So it's just like you can't really feel this. Like, so it doesn't matter to me. Mm-hmm. Like, you can go here, you can do this, but you're still going to live. Die real quick, and then let's see how you feel.
Not real quick.
Like, forever. Go ahead and die. Then let's see. Like, to go into something knowing that you're going to be okay. It's like you still can't have the feeling that I have. So you could go ahead with all this empathy. It's not real.
Yeah, I think what she was trying to do was make an effort, because from the conversation, I think she did say, like, let me see if I can really care about this. But when she came up out the water and she was like, I was just like, all right, because you really don't care. Yeah, like, you really don't. And it didn't change anything about how she handled
They don't
anything.
have the capacity to care. Like,
they isn't the whites.
Like, and
is
I
that
don't.
What that means?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if I want to say capacity, or even use the word ability, but it's just like they don't, because of the privilege that they have. It's no way that they could ever truly understand it. Like, they just can't get it. Like, they can be they Humpty Dumpty. And I mean, we're Humpty Dumpty, and like no one could put us back together after this experience.
Right.
Like, no, we fell off a wall and cracked up. Like, this is that's how fragile we are.
We didn't fall off the wall.
Shut up. Like, that's how fragile we are, and they can't experience that amount of sensitivity because it just doesn't exist in that world. And I don't want to. That's a blanket statement in general, but are there some people who we have, mixed race babies and stuff like that now? So, you know what? When George Floyd happened, in the world, I'm finna have all 100% blacks in my family. 100%. That's what I'm finna have. But that's neither here nor there.
You know what she said? This got blacks only on it. A sign down there that says blacks only.
Whites need not apply.
For sure. But when George Floyd first happened, and everybody was home. Maybe not everybody, but at my job, everybody was home. And so they started doing this happy hour on Fridays that I hated. They just really wanted us to socialize and talk. And I'm like, please, let me go back to pretending to work. I don't want to do this. So they start like this one lady was like, y'all need to pray for me. She's an older black lady. She was like, y'all need to pray for me. This is the first time that I ever seen somebody murdered in my life. And at first I was like, what are they talking about? Lady said that? Right. So I'm like, what are they talking about?
I was more disgusted just now by her face because it's like her smile was getting big as a story.
Yes.
Y'all need to pray for me. I've never
because I was so confused. I was like, what happened to her? Did somebody die in her family?
Let me not miss my window before it gets too far off. You said blacks only? You said you got that bop.
She said this WAPs got a sign on it say blacks only.
Anyway.
Or is you Topsy and Bopsy?
Oh, girl, she WAPsy and BOPsy.
WAPsy. Okay,
y'all better watch it.
WAP and Bop. Go ahead.
But yeah, so I was confused because, and that's why I'm laughing right now. But kind of, y'all know I got a horrible sense of humor. If y'all are dedicated to us, you know my sense of humor is trash. It is dark. Anyway,
as long as y'all know.
Yes, Leppy. So I'm like, what are they talking about? And so then she was just like, when I saw that video of George Floyd, I was like, oh, this is the first murder she's seen online? I can't believe this. But she was like, can y'all pray for me, please? All right. So then this white woman starts talking, and I'm like, oh, hell no. She is not about to talk about this black moment. I mean, she's not about to talk in this black moment where this lady is telling us how distressed she is and sad because she's seen a murder. So I immediately flipped around and was on this black woman's side. But
Anthony was just shaming her for only seeing.
In my mind, I was shaming her.
Yo, that's sick. That is very sick.
I'm telling y'all, Candace is a bad person. I'm just here to say it.
This is her first online murder experience.
Absolutely
like,
not a bad person.
Do we subscribe?
Right.
Like, I don't like it.
I mean, it's so much that you see online that it's like, yes, over time it affects you like drastically. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she said this was her first, so I get it. But I didn't see hella murders on Instagram. Like
Instagram, you say she's an older black woman.
She's seen it on Instagram.
Okay.
So I don't know, whatever.
Finish your story. I'm sorry.
Anyway, yeah. So this white lady, she starts talking, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm really upset about this." I was like, what the hell is she about to say? And then she was like, because I have black grandkids and I just couldn't imagine. I was like, oh.
Well, she has black grandkids. I didn't say she had black friends.
Yeah. Black friends. I have black friends. But that's when they try to prove that they're not racist. But yeah, I just couldn't understand at first, like, how bad she was, like, why is she saying, like, she's so hurt, too? Because, you know, typically, they don't have that much human decency. Like, to empathize with someone else's feelings, like, really.
No, I mean, I don't know, because the family line for me is also fine, because people got a lot of family members they do not care about. Just because you got a black in your family does not mean that you have empathy for those. Now, her grandchildren,
that's what I'm saying is different. I'm agreeing. Like, I don't think they have a lot of empathy. So, typically, it don't matter. But when she said this, I was like, oh, okay, so she don't want to see her grandkids killed. I get it, girl. That's how I feel about all of my family members. That's how I feel about all of them.
Okay, this girl.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was like, And, you know, even in that moment, I was like, all right, I can't be upset with her no more. Cause, all right, someone that she realizes in this moment that someone that she loves could possibly go through this. Mm-hmm. But so many of them don't have that connection. Yeah. And because they don't have that connection, it just explains what I've been saying this whole time, that they can't really feel what we feel because they're just not connected like that. So it's like for us, we know, like, okay, I could, or somebody in my family, God forbid, could be walking down the street just being black and get hung from a tree because they're black. Girl.
I told you when I was in Maine, we used to do that. It was very sick and twisted, Cletus. But we used to always be like, everything we do, checking out a book, while black. Walk down the street, while black.
Y'all
eating the yogurt. Like, no,
dangerous.
we were in the whitest state.
No, seriously.
So it's different. Like, and then once people started coming on campus that we didn't know that was black, we had to take inventory. Like, who's this RBP, random black person? Who's this RBP? Now, you know, that's how it is. And unfortunately, it has not changed much since probably Jim Crow days.
It just got sad and dark. However, still we rise.
Thanks, Maya. That's on my arm. But yeah, so I just feel like with the whole Christina thing, for a while, I felt like you, Trae. I was trying to give her I was trying to hope.
I really wanted her to be like a low key we think she a villain, but she gonna come through.
Yeah, like once she was doing everything she was doing with her father, and then with the captain, the police captain.
Oh my God, I hate him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And y'all seen that they had to keep killing
Black
niggas to
chest,
save
yo.
them.
Black just yelling them.
No, when he was bleeding out his nipples, I was like, this is too much. Like, y'all going
We're running
OD.
out of niggers, sir. We won't be able to keep
Y'all
saving
going
Exactly
them.
what they
OD
said.
at this point.
Like I was like,
Yeah, that was a
okay.
lot.
But yeah, like in those moments where I saw her fighting the bad guy, I was like, okay, like.
But that was
feel
for
it.
her own selfish
Exactly,
gain.
but we
that's
didn't
the
see
part
that
that's
until the
just
end.
double insult.
And I think that it is double insult. I think that a lot of the time when we have a common enemy, they'll be aligned with us. And once it comes down to make the actual important decisions, it's like, oh no, your intentions were never mine.
Yeah.
This just benefited me and it benefited you.
Yep.
Goddamn Christina.
So that's how it is. And so with her and Ruby, that relationship was always so complicated because I don't know, are they officially gay, I guess?
Girl, not when they living in two different bodies. They have
saying,
never.
I don't know.
Technically, they never had sex as two women.
Well, we don't know.
They didn't.
But we assume that they did in that one episode where Letty asked Ruby to bring her some blood.
Oh.
So we are not sure. But
Oh, she sure died trying.
50 Cent. Get blood or die trying. But yeah, so with that whole thing, and I think the thing that Christina was doing that was important was that she was calling Ruby out on her mess too. Like she was like, okay, you want to talk about me not understanding that this is what's happening in Black America with Black people, but you want to be here sleeping with me.
Yeah.
So you better than me or what? Now, of course, I do think it's different. I think Ruby was doing that to try to get out of the moment. Still kind of sick, but it happens. I mean, people do. I'm sure somebody was having sex on 9/11. I'm sure. Like these are things that we just don't ever think about.
Oh my God.
But like legit, like every moment for somebody else is not that moment for you.
Okay, now when you say like that, it makes sense. But you acted like they was across the hall, looking
I
out the
did
window, and the
not.
towers falling. Like, oh wow, you see that?
I did not act that way. That's how you interpreted it. But yeah, like that's the thing, the reality of it, where it's like life is still gonna go on. There's a lot of people that can see that, can know that. Like Ruby was at the funeral for Emmett Till.
Yeah.
Was there, and she left it and was like, I have to process this how I need to process it. And in this moment, I need to not think about it. I need to do the complete opposite. I need to be a white woman sleeping with a white man turning black to not be black in this moment. Like
Also
it was just so
disrespectful, but that was the way she needed to cope.
That's
But
how she coped. Yeah.
It doesn't even work though.
I mean, 'cause think about
she
it.
still was herself.
While she doing that, Diana fighting Topsy Bopsy.
I know, girl. And I think a lot of this episode, they did a really good job of saying how so many adults have their own issues and never center the child. Because I was getting so pissed at them, like even when they was in line. Now, mind you, at this point, Letty is pregnant and we are aware.
Right.
But we don't know if Tick knows. But he ends up telling us that he does know, and not because Letty told him. But
He came back with that book.
yeah, girl, came back with that book. So we didn't even
son
talk
wrote
about
this.
that beautiful episode with Hippolyta. Beautiful episode, amazing. Watch it.
Name yourself.
Name yourself. That was real.
That was great.
Yeah, it was really good. That was a good break from the horror of everything. That's probably the most optimistic episode.
But I think that it goes hand in hand. It's like the opposite of what you were saying, that the Jigga Boo Bobo whatever was about. Because it's like name yourself. It's like live beyond these stereotypes. Live beyond what they call you to be. Like, yeah, like train yourself to be the best version of yourself at all times and be above everyone.
Y'all know the lady with the big afro, the one that you really was like, she's amazing.
Yes.
Her name was Beyonce.
What?
Yeah, girl, it's amazing.
And her name was Beyonce in the thing?
Yeah, Beyonce. It's like French though, not like Beyonce, but like Beyonce 'EST, Beyonce. And I think I was so confused at the beginning of that episode because I was just like, what is happening to poor Hippolyta?
Yeah, but her arms up.
Yeah, and I didn't know, like, when they had to do that, I was like, what is going on? I didn't know if the big figure was a friend or a foe. I didn't know what was happening. I felt like she was in prison, but
It was reminding me of a Busta Rhymes video back in the day. I didn't like
she
it.
kept saying that. But it's just like, I think the
I
conversation.
get that. Was that the one with was Janet Jackson in that?
That's Busta Rhymes. That was Janet's song featuring him, right?
Yeah.
What song is that? The one that they just. Thank you, choir.
Still don't know the name of the song though.
On Me, On You. That's who Sierra and Russell were.
Yeah, they killed that. Don't forget Alonzo Arnold.
And Alonzo, yes. But yeah, so in that, they did a really good job, I feel like, of explaining what she was saying. I've tried to be the right black woman all this time, and they still have a problem with it. And she was like, they just made me so comfortable with being lynched, I didn't even realize it was happening. And that was like, dang. Like, we go along to get along so much as black people, black women, whatever you happen to be, and you don't realize how many compromises you're making until you look back and see. Like, kids will do a really good job of that. Like, if you talk to them and they was like, what did you want to be? And you're like, oh, I wanted to be this. Then you really be like, dang, what did I do with all this time? But when you have to sit and take inventory, it's like, wow.
But I think my favorite part is when she got that intimate moment with George. I mean, because we saw her with him in that scene. We saw her with him, but we got to see a different version of it. And she was just like, I shrunk myself, so long. And even though she loved George more than anything in the world and would love to have him back, she was still like, I shrunk myself, bro. Like, yeah, you cute and all, but listen. Okay. All right. Sorry, Courtney.
No, I think that's really, really, that hit me too, because especially for relationships, and I talk about this a lot, I think black women are more prepared and equipped to go into relationships. We understand what we need to sacrifice. We understand what we need to give. And we're taught that from a young age. We're socialized to have relationships. When they put men out here, it's just like, do the bare minimum and you get a woman and she'll help complete the rest. And it's just like, how fair is that? And so many women are so big and having to shrink to be in a relationship just to say they're in a relationship. And it sucks. Instead of a man growing to our level, we have to shrink to theirs. And the one thing that I really liked is when she called George out about it, and she was like, you let me shrink. And he was like, no, you didn't. And she said it again, and he was like, you're right, I saw it, and I didn't say anything, and I didn't do anything. And you're absolutely right. And they had the conversation. It was a hard conversation. But once they got to the end, they still was out here looking at different planets together and trying to figure things out, because it can work. But you have to communicate and say, like, this is what I am, this is who I am, and this is what I need. So I respect them for doing that. And the writers were saying, like, that whole episode was kind of a therapy journey. Like, from the beginning of, like, the biggest thing about, they said therapy is, like, naming what the situation is, actually defining things and boundaries and things like that. So we see her go through, and they were saying, like, that's why we see her with Josephine Baker. Yeah. We see her with her because most of the first stages of therapy
that girl was playing her so bad that she was dancing.
Most of the first stages are like, you want to have fun, you want to drink, you don't want to really deal with the problem. And then she had to face the problem, and then you have her fighting with her rage and her anger when she was with the homie women, which was beautiful to see. And that whole piece right there, that whole piece where she talked about, like, her anger, how they taught us that this is not what it's for, but this is what we need it for. And they beat all them Confederates. Like, that was beautiful. And then you went into her confronting things with her relationship, and then her actually, like, being who I guess she wanted to be. I didn't think she wanted to be Arinthia Blue, but Diana spoke that for her, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that episode it was definitely super beautiful. I felt light after the episode. Like, wow, this is lovely for us. And by us, I mean black women specifically, but, whoever can take it. You feel any way about the episode?
Oh, I didn't talk about that already? I thought I did.
No, me and Trae kind of.
I specifically talked about the episode when I said it's the opposite of...
Well, we talked more, so I just didn't know if you had more to say.
No, that's
next episode, please.
Okay, so Tulsa.
It's like Candace Spear here, Tulsa.
Yes.
Yo, working my nerves today.
Show off that Western education.
Oof, why would you do that?
Yeah, what's
we
your
can
problem?
show it off.
We already established that
y'all not even in our ranks. We don't even discuss you guys.
You can't compete where you don't compare at all.
Ooh,
at all.
Y'all not on our level.
You could never get that low.
Ooh, that was cute.
Yeah.
Cute. It's a vocational school.
Oh my God, the shade.
You started this.
You did for no reason.
You should have just sat there and ate your food.
White doves.
You should have just sat there and ate your food. That's what you should have done.
Sat there What did Nene say about those napkins that time?
I don't know. Dang it. Was she in the car?
No, she was out at a restaurant with somebody.
Dang
Gosh. We'll figure it out. But this was one of my favorite episodes because it was the end for me when Letty walked through that fire.
Woo! Can I get a Joe Button? Woo! Go ahead.
You sound like that part
like
in
a
Save the Last Dance.
You know the meme?
No, what are you talking about?
Jumping back. That ear hit that mic.
I'll send it so you can add it on.
Please do. Yes, we will put that meme. Whatever
Because
meme.
you need it.
Because you need it.
I say she sound like a tea kettle just now.
No, she sound like that part in Save the Last Dance where Dirk got into college.
Don't start with that Save the Last Dance again.
And Sarah was like, "What's going on?"
They can never relate.
Never
relate. No. Tulsa.
Pissing me off. So yes, that episode was a lot. I just think that we got into Montrose. Not I think that we got into Montrose, but we got into Montrose, so that started off as a lot. Mm-hmm. And Montrose, he was pissing me off tremendously throughout the series. They went there for one thing. He wanted to change the whole entire. They told that man,
they did,
don't go in there and change nothing.
They did. Butterfly effect. They say that. But I mean, honestly, if that was us, if we got to go in the past and they told us not to change anything, would you actually not change anything?
What am I going in the past for to not change something?
They sent us there.
But I'm saying, so
I'm just this is a scenario. Stop. If you got sent in the past and they're letting you go back to say, okay, you can see your young self for 5 minutes, would you not change anything if you had the power to?
Of course you would. You'd be like,
no, I wouldn't. If I was going in the past to change the past, I would do that. But if I'm going there for a specific purpose, I'm going there for that purpose only. Because let me tell you something.
You're going to see yourself sitting at that desk in high school or something and be like, you're going to say something like,
girl, she probably would have killed Miss Chang back in the day.
I would not have killed that woman. But what I'm saying is you really never know how drastic one little thing can be. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't, honestly, if I was legit going in for a mission, like that's just it, period. I'm sticking to the mission. Now, do sometimes I sit and thinking like, oh my goodness, if I could go back to 2009.
That's her year, honey.
2009, 2000 shine.
Yes.
Wow, what was I in 2009?
But girl,
in the ninth grade.
Probably in Mervo.
Ninth grade.
Mergenthaler.
Sure was.
Put that down. It's embarrassing.
I probably would I'd probably go back to 2007.
That's a good year.
Wow, because y'all folk get graduated.
Don't do that.
Why do you hate us so bad?
For no reason. Like, we're not two our favorite people.
What Western girl hurt you?
Girl.
Actually,
let that hurt go.
Exactly. Nobody hurt you.
None. It's just
you just
something
mad because
about
I'll be
them.
right.
They just so
fun AF.
Educated.
Call us faffs.
No. That's bad. We
bougie
don't want to do
AF.
that. Bougie. Are we bougie?
No, not y'all.
We're Western girls.
What I'm saying.
What the hell?
I have the bougie mentality. Y'all personally, y'all like.
I'm sorry. You said we have the bougie mentality?
This is what Western does to people. It makes them think that they're here.
We're Hippolytas. I tell you, this is the problem with society today. They don't want you to be at a place where you know yourself,
you know your
worth. You don't stand for nothing beneath it.
True.
That's exactly what you're saying.
I'm not. Let me make this clear. To the rest of the Western dubs, y'all like, maybe I just really hate these two. Maybe that's really all.
But she just said that cool.
That's cool. How she started off saying thank you to me earlier.
You're right. She just be mad because
that
we be right.
thank you was not a thank you. Let me go on record.
Well, you just said we was cool, and now we not. So if there's anybody who is not themselves,
it's you.
It's her.
Y'all got beef with me. I don't even do nothing.
That's how she do. Don't
hold up. This for you, Trae.
This is white woman's Trae right here.
For you. I ain't even do nothing. Yo,
this is for you, Traquan.
Literally,
you are such a lie. You get down on that floor, you be a rug.
Shut up. Me and Traquan watch Precious in slow motion. That's what we do.
They do. It's very sick and disgusting. And I've been telling them that since they was younger that it's not a movie.
You watched that part when she's running with the chicken?
That's the part that we watch in slow motion.
And they be
so
crying,
funny.
laughing.
Oh, when she kicked that pot down the steps.
They be crying, laughing. They're
so
sick.
Funny. Oh
They're sick. So if Monique is getting any residual income on that, it's from y'all.
My favorite line in that movie, though, is "There you go dreaming again."
No, it's "Get that wipe away from my buzzer." That's my favorite one.
Okay, guys, because I don't know how we got into Precious, but we don't want to be here. So Tulsa was talked about a lot. They did it on Watchmen, and Spring Hill is doing a documentary or series about it. Spring Hill Entertainment, which is LeBron James's media group. So I think that's exciting. My only thing would be, I hate when we do one thing. Like, there's so much more Black history, so many more places that were like Tulsa that had successful, affluent Black communities that we don't talk about. Like, I know the city of Philadelphia just apologized to their residents for bombing them in the 60s, the 50s or 60s.
Wow.
Like, that happened. So,
Also,
here in Baltimore.
That'll probably come out.
Side note, because Tulsa, that was also the Black Wall Street, right?
Yes.
Today is National Entrepreneur Day. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
So,
They said it in the script.
congratulations to me.
Yes.
And also, as we talk,
Congratulations to me. Like, what?
congratulations to me. Also,
Humility. Any.
As we discussed Tulsa, let's really dig into the fact that there was a Black Wall Street. This really existed. Like, there were literally thriving Black
This
businesses.
is why I believe in segregation.
That people were like the things we are aspiring to do now. They literally were doing that. Like, we came from that.
Yeah.
So it's just sad to see that white people did this and they bombed Black Wall Street. And on this day, it's just a moment of silence for that. Like, seriously. Okay. Dang,
was that even a moment?
It was a moment. I'm
my
just
God.
saying, like,
I didn't even
In
close
my mind, I was just
eyes.
thinking that moment of silences never go right. Moments of silence never go right
Moments of silence.
on this
It was
show.
more than they don't go right on this show.
Ever.
My first thought was, does she have permission to call it? Did she have that ring? But I let her have it. But I think
I'm a
This is
guest
third
host,
time.
not a
Yes.
guest. So
Yeah.
I'm
Whoa,
same
whoa, whoa,
level
whoa,
as
You
whoa.
watch it now. You
Whoa, whoa,
watch
whoa.
it now. That's exactly
Don't
what's
get
wrong
above
with you
yourself.
uppity niggas now.
Okay.
But no, so with what you're saying, like, that's why it's so hard for me when people like, oh, Black people don't do nothing, they don't do this, they don't do that. Every time Black people have defeated odds and defied nature to create things, white people have been the hands to destroy it
This
every
is
single
true.
time. And if not, they've
Don't
been the
Just say Black
opposition.
people.
They've been the ops.
Don't forget about my Mexican brothers and sisters and how they go over to those fields and destroy those businesses that they have.
That is true. White people's pastime is colonizing and destruction. And that's just a fact. But back to this. For those that have oppressor blood, not abolitionist blood, we had that conversation. But back to this episode. So with this, I feel like it was so hard to see all of this. And like they were naming names. And I think Montrose did that. No, I'm sorry. Because that scene with Letty, first of all, she messed up wearing them shoes. And she knew that.
It's like, girl, who is
That
you?
grandmother was like, you ain't from here. Where you from? Where you from?
Mama wasn't playing.
But like it was just so beautiful to see. Like she was aware, she knew, and she pulled her aside and she basically told her like, the book has been bound. She had no clue what this book could do. The grandmother, great grandmother.
That scene though,
Yeah, it was hard.
with the fire.
It was really hard to watch. And then when that line when she was like, "When my great grandson gets here, he'll be my faith turned flesh," girl, almost had me melted.
Joe Button again?
No,
Okay.
don't do that again. But yeah, like it's certain things like that where I really think, and I think it hit me more because imagine how many slaves and newly freed Black people that were like, I'm doing this for the future generations. Like I'm sitting here, I'm dealing with this abuse. I'm gonna buy this house in this white neighborhood to build my legacy for my great whatever, for this that, to have that sort of generational vision in a moment and in moments of practically suicide, like not suicide, that was homicide, they killed them. Have it in moments like these hardest moments where you still can see that it's beyond me, this is past me and I need to do this for somebody else. Like that's why
I think that's why old people hate millennials so much. Because they feel like we live in the moment instead of living in the legacy.
that was good.
Wow.
But all of us are not like that.
That is true.
But as a generation, I can see it sometimes. But we just have a different tactic on certain things.
It's true. And I think that's why we need to come together generationally. Because even in this, they did a really good job of bringing together generations. Like, you got, Tick and Letty. You got Montrose and them. You got Diana. All of them need to come together to create this gap. Because I don't even know what's going to happen in the future.
Not even just that, because it was Tick's, the slave.
Hannah.
Yes, Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Dora, and the great.
Yeah, so it's like even them.
Oh,
like,
yeah, when they came back to get rid of... Girl, that's that part when I was making fun of Titus when they brought him back and he was like, the niggers have that. Remember, I kept saying that all day. It was so funny. I said, how? That's your only word? That's the only word he got out before he got out of there.
They did what they needed to do.
But, like, to call back on the strength of those generations... Like, that was beautiful. And they showed up. They had no problem. They was like, what we got to do? What we finna do? Who we finna fry? And get them out of here. So, and then, like, Hannah's been telling them from the beginning. And even when they couldn't hear her, she was still speaking. Like, literally, they had no interpretation. I can't stand her.
That was her.
They had no interpretation of what she was saying. They couldn't read her lips. And it was just like, at one point, I think, what was it? After they cracked, I think, the beginning of the language. That's when she said, like, the voice came with the words. So, but
if I had to see that scene one more time of her running with that book, why do we keep seeing this? Like,
the same reason we see the eyes on the prize all the time. It's the same reason.
It's like, give me something.
It was very important.
It is, and you saw something different each time.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
and I think that was just
seeing her in that book.
But I think that really just showed us that, like, sometimes some things you really have to fight for. Like, she literally ran through a burning house.
She did.
To save.
She killed Titus.
Generations.
So she burned the house down.
Because they said, basically what happened with Tick, they said that she was the only person that survived it was her. So the whole house burned down. She got out with the book, and she's the only one that survived. She knew more than she was letting on. She knew what she was letting on. And I just get so mad. Like, the whole situation makes me so upset because nobody asked this white man to impregnate her for them to even have this in their blood. And then you gonna come back and try to use Tick to get what y'all want and act like y'all ain't worth it, knowing that they worth it because y'all can't do it without them. Like, that just pisses me off every single time I think about it. Yeah.
Let's not even talk about it.
Okay. So, on to that scene with Letty walking through that fire. They can do that. They do that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Chills.
It just was Hannah all over again. So
Trae hated it. Look at her. God, Hannah again.
It's just like black women specifically, are always saving the day.
It's true. They need to cut us a check.
I'm just saying, like,
on top of
really
reparations,
are,
like,
girl, please don't hold your breath on them reparations.
You saw that episode of Dave Chappelle. I want mine. You tripping?
Broke niggas around.
Don't hold your breath. I mean, I am praying that Joe will go ahead and cut these student loans.
Yeah, he could do that.
That's a reparation for me.
PF Joe.
No, hear me. No. Let's not.
PF Joe.
Let's not stop him there.
Just
let him.
I'm
just
say
saying, thank you.
Student loans, my nigga.
Yeah.
That's probably more than the reparations that she was gonna get. So
yeah, I'll take it.
We'll see.
Full PF Joe.
I'm just. What do you call him?
Full PF Joe.
Why you call him that?
Because he was a little baby. Y'all ain't know that?
You know what? Let's continue. Because, Candace, please. I cannot with the foolishness.
Full pockets, full Joe. Congratulations.
Remember when they were selling them chains at
in Walmart? People are sick.
And stupid.
Stupid, yes.
But yeah, like, consistently, black women are at the bottom of the totem pole, but we are the foundation of so many things. And that's what, but I'm saying, so it's like, that's my point though.
We're not
it's
the
just
bottom,
like,
we the foundation.
Exactly.
Foundation.
We get treated like the bottom, but it's like, you wouldn't have nothing to stand on, my nigga.
First
of all, you wouldn't even be here. because
true.
we birthed you. That's just and
we
most
still
of
both of
these
y'all
white
niggas.
people out here, they probably got a drop of just a whole.
Don't even
Girl,
forget.
it's black. We fed
And
them,
for the whites, we nursed you.
nursed you, fed you.
That's true. And y'all know they say that's liquid gold. So if it's coming from a black person, it's probably liquid bronze.
Girl, no, you mean vibranium. Vibranium. So let's be clear about that. Getting this free vibranium. Y'all know we not supposed to let colonizers in. But that is so true. It's super.
One time, remember when Ricky Smiley used to, I don't know what station he's on now, but
95.9.
he used to call people and do that prank stuff. He called this lady and told her that she was in the hospital. She had recently had a baby. I think her baby was still in the hospital, and she's under distress because her baby is in the hospital and she is home away from her baby. He gonna tell this woman, yeah, we got your milk from out the refrigerator down here and it's glowing because you've been drinking that hypnotic and then trying to bring it down here to feed the baby. And that just, when you said vibranium milk, it made me think of like glowing breast milk.
I know she went off on him.
Girl, she went clear off on him.
It'd be hilarious. It's hilarious.
That nephew Tommy, he's pretty funny as well.
He ain't my nephew. Anyway,
he's none of our nephews, but he's pretty funny is all I'm saying. That's his name.
So on to the finale. I just must say I did not see it going this way. I didn't. I did not think Tick was going to actually die.
Okay. Well, why do we just keep getting flashes? The nine-tailed fox done told us. Hannah done, everybody done said Tick finna die. Even he said, I'm finna die.
Did you believe it?
I thought he was going to die, but that they were going to bring him back. I knew he was going to die for sure.
He still could be put back.
Child, them slashes on his arm, he is gone. He ain't coming back.
Do you watch Grey's Anatomy?
No, she doesn't. But let's not get into that.
Let's not.
Well, if you do.
But also, they have magic now. They took magic from all white.
That part, though, when Montrose was crying, I was like, wow.
And you know what? Sometimes that's
it should have been him.
Oh, my God. It should have been him. It should have been you.
He done nothing but piss us off.
He didn't have it, though. He didn't have it, though.
And when he killed that screeching lady.
That screeching lady. Yahima.
Yo, tapped her on her shoulder. You know how you here in school? Like, not us anymore, but how you tap somebody in school and walked over?
Childish.
That's what he did. That's what he did.
He said, sorry.
But why did he do that again?
Because he did not want Tick to learn the language of Adam, to decode the pages, to figure this out. He's literally been trying to make sure that he doesn't figure it out because he thought the end was death, and it was. Now, the one thing that he did do well...
No matter what.
It was, but he didn't know that. The one thing he did do well is he did do that spell and summon that black Shoggoth. That scene when the creature with the eyes, the black one came out in the street, was tearing them police officers up. Mm-hmm. Girl, they was doing so much to try to save Tick. So many people. Like, Letty had invincibility, and she was like, give it to him. She had the mark of Cain.
What did you call it?
Invincibility. And I call it a Bon and Gillian.
Shut up.
inside joke. And so, like, she switched that, gave stuff up, and Christina played them all. I think the one thing, if you learn nothing from this series as a black family and black people, secrets will literally be the death of us.
Honestly.
Like, from the beginning, if they would have had this conversation, if Ruby and Letty would have ever talked, that Ruby was out here with Christina. Oh my God,
how many episodes were we like, when are they going to talk? When are they going to talk? When are they going to talk?
But that's the thing about it. When your issues get in the way, they get in the way. That's just what the hell it is. Like, when you not talking about something because you mad about something else, it's like you don't know how many other things are going on. Like, they already had issues. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, all of this stuff just only was fuel to the fire that Hannah had to run through.
But like, that's the, like, really honestly, is like every single episode I said, if they would have had a conversation, if they would have said, even when them not telling Hippolyta about George, she ended up having to find out anyway. Like, y'all should have told her.
Y'all should have lie to that lady about her husband.
And she ripping up a Dracula book for what?
Foul.
And so,
because I do not agree with them lying to her.
And
but
they
when
never told her.
When some stuff so crazy happens, like, y'all never gonna believe this. Like that video that was going around of that tire going around the car and knocking the bumper off. And they was like, now, If they didn't have video, the insurance company would not believe it. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like some stuff legit. If you don't have footage of it actually happening,
I understand.
It's like,
that.
man, they not gonna believe this. And how the hell we gonna tell her about magic?
But this my thing though. You have nothing to lose if they're not gonna believe you. This is how I feel. If I come here and I tell y'all I walked down the street, a deer walked up to my car, leaned in, said, "What's up, nigga?" dapped me up and went back in the woods, y'all gonna be like, all right, Trinice is crazy, whatever. But now in y'all head, that's like, it. Even on my worst day, Trinice said this, it may, like, 1% chance that it's real. And if y'all see a deer start to walk on his hind legs, you're gonna be like, just like Trinice said. That's what I'm saying. Like, you lose nothing. Like, if you're not gonna believe me either way, I'd rather give you the information for you not to believe, so that when you're faced with it, you know.
Like, she was just letting it go. So
because they was lying. Like, she kept asking questions.
That's why people lie, so you can let it go.
No.
You know how many people got hit in the eye with a door?
Girl,
and or people let it go.
Or that jumped up the pot. The noodle pot.
Girl.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, when you still...
Do you know Hot Water? Mm-hmm. Remember the girl?
Yeah.
Do you know she kept that baby?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, God.
Wow.
She's so mad.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
But I'm just saying, like, I just think if they would have just been like, look, Hippolyta, it's just real crazy and you might not believe us, but blah, 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 blah. Then she would have had to deal with those feelings still. But when she came across Devens County and when they went whatever, she could have been an ally with them trying to find this stuff as opposed to her being on the outside. Now, somebody did need to watch D.
However, if she would have never went on her own journey, she would have never named herself and been able to get them back where they needed to
Well, that's not true because she found the Ori in the house that if they would have had the conversation about the magic, she would have known what it was and found out quicker. Exactly. All I'm saying is, in this scenario, the conversation would have been beneficial for our end goal. If they would have talked to D about magic prior to it happening to her, then, I mean, she wasn't able to speak about the situation. And that was a whole deeper thing about how sometimes in trauma you can't even express that. And, of course, throughout the episode, spit on her.
Oh, my God.
I could have.
That was the nastiest.
You know
thing.
what I appreciate about D?
Came back.
I just was about to say, I appreciate the fact that she told him off.
And she spit on him.
Yes, she did.
Just tell him.
But that's speaking to the generation.
Slapped him.
All right, now let's not get her killed. That's speaking to the generation.
You
where
spit on somebody, that's not gonna get you killed. She should have just went on and slapped him. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, he was like, she did anyway. That's why he didn't do anything.
Look at him, still living.
Meanwhile, he's dead.
That's
Look
true.
at her being an Avenger now.
Ain't she?
Ain't she?
I just when the I think the realest part for me is after that whole beautiful Hippolyta episode when she came back home, Dee was like, "You left me."
Right.
Like,
this
let's
was
be
key.
clear,
You were on a
but you still
journey.
left me. And I think sometimes you have to understand, like people that love you will understand when you have to make that journey on your own. And it's difficult and it's hard. And she came back and she wanted to make amends and she did help her figure out the whole arm situation, which was beautiful because Hippolyta is a genius. But you got to deal with those feelings when, if this is what you need for your survival, if this is what you, like she became a much better mother after that because she was able to provide in a way that she would have never been able to had she not gone on that journey. So yes, this was a moment of pain and it sucked to see her not be there and see all that stuff happen with Dee, with all of these people, the ones that knew magic, not doing anything for her. But when I think about the end game and the point, I'm glad it happened because Dee would not have had that arm without Hippolyta. And
Dee didn't necessarily need this arm.
I mean, she didn't, but she just been walking around with a little nub, you know?
She would have never had to deal with any of this, though.
That's not necessarily true.
Why didn't she just take her with her?
Wasn't?
Did she know she was going?
Yeah, she didn't know. She didn't plan this
she
trip.
got snatched up, remember?
She left to go find out what the Ori, like, did the thing. And then she went and was trying to figure out what it was. She didn't know that this is what it's going to be. And then she got sucked into the portal all the time, however long it was.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, because was Dee not there? What happened? Because how did her book get there? Hippolyta
She
left
took it with her, like, because you know how on the Journey and Woody, they have the comics.
I know, but remember they were together. How did she? I don't even remember how Dee got back home. Because they had all, didn't they? Oh, she left her there with Ruby.
Yeah, she was with Ruby because Ruby and her, that's when
but
they was in the window talking.
I thought Dee had that map, though. So she must have took her back home because they was together, though. That's what I'm saying. They all went there together at first.
Yeah, they all went to Boston together. But then once Letty, Tick, and Montrose ended up back in Chicago because they went under the house, she was like, Dee was like, how did they get to Chicago so quick? Mm-hmm. Then they went to Devens County, and she saw all the rubble and stuff. And then they went back.
But I don't remember them showing us that part.
Well, she went back to get the Ori.
Oh.
So that's when all of that happened. But, yeah. But with the whole Tick situation, I think the whole thing about the Nine-Tailed Fox coming in play, I did not see that.
Yeah, that was definitely different. That episode was so, like, far removed from the whole plot, but it made sense when we figured out what it came.
Everything. It was like the beginning.
It did, but I mean, the fact that they went so in depth with it was like we back in the time of war with him, and then we try to figure out who this girl is, and then her mother. Like, it didn't really make sense. I'm not talking about the episode.
I thought you were talking about that moment in the finale.
No. I was talking about the actual episode.
I was talking about, but she brought it to the whole episode though.
Yeah. And then the fact that most of the episode wasn't English was another thing. Like, you know how I feel about reading.
On the Korean one?
You know how I feel about reading.
Yes, yo. We was watching something. She was like, God, why can't they just get a voiceover? I was like,
because it's like, okay, a little bit of reading is fine, but when I'm going, shut up.
How they going to both talk, though? Like, that's really stupid.
That is. She want them bad Chinese voiceovers.
Have you ever had to use a translator?
No. I got an app on my phone, though.
It's horrific.
You used it?
I'm talking about using the translator. I did use the app today, though.
Oh, really?
Why?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Because a Spanish-speaking student came to pick up some books.
Did it work?
And your Western education didn't teach you Spanish?
Because I took Chinese.
Boom.
Because in Baltimore, we need Chinese.
We did. We have a lot of Chinese jokes. You have a Chinese...
So next time we go to the carryout...
They speak English because they're in my lane.
They speak English.
First of all, because they black. Low-key.
Let's not get twisted. They don't understand.
Do not do that. But yeah, like the whole thing leading up to it. So I think Tick knew that he was going to die because he wrote Montrose that letter before. So when he came back from the portal...
Also, did he read the book?
Yes, he did read the book. And he was saying like how it was different from their life. And he was like, in the book, this is that. And it's literally, that's how the show was different from the actual book, the 2016 novel that we talked about at the beginning. And he just was basically like, Pop, we got to do this, Pop. This is how it's going to work, Pop. And I know from that moment when he started assuring him, I knew that he knew he was going to die. That's when I was like, he really believed, he's fine with this. Whatever the fate is, he's fine with it. Now, again, I was holding out hope that this will work out and this would be the case. Because when Letty was out there praying, I really thought. And then Christina tried to play her like, girl, shut up. It ain't working. Ain't nothing happening. And that switch, though, that Ruby Christina switch, did y'all see that? In the end, they all drove to Devens County. Mm-hmm. And in the car, Ruby was Christina.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm
talking to her. She don't remember. When they was in the car, they was singing. And then they got there, and Letty and Ruby was in the room. They was talking, and she was like, "Yeah, we got to do this at the witching hour, or whatever." And Ruby was like, "The witching hour is getting close." And I don't know what she said, but Letty was like, "You not Ruby."
Oh, when they was at the top, yes, I do remember.
But when they were in the car, she wasn't Ruby.
Oh,
the whole time that when she came back and brought the vial, she was not Ruby. That was Christina.
We just never thought of that until this time came when we were like, "You're not Ruby." But the whole time, and she was in the car. Bopping with them, singing with them.
That's the song she said she hated. Like, that's what I've been saying all this time in every episode. That Shaboom, Shaboom. The song that they were singing was the song at the beginning. They asked her to sing, and she said, "I'm not singing that white lily trash. It's boring, whatever." But then in that scene in the car, she's singing it with everybody, and it was just like, okay, I thought it was just a cute little, She came around and like even with her and Letty reconnecting in the cemetery, like I thought it was just like I'm coming together and making allowances for this relationship now. And that was really hard because I feel like Letty was doing so much, but she was conveniently telling Ruby at times where it benefited her. And it sucks to feel like, are you doing this because you care about me? Or are you doing this because you need me? That does suck, and I understand Ruby's situation. But at the same time, it's like, this your sister, bro. But family's different for everybody.
It's just that I feel like Ruby was so damaged that she couldn't be trusted. And, it took, like, a real, like, moment for her to, like, bring her back to, like, understand, like, yo, you need to choose us right now. Like, I know right now you felt, like, because in life she probably feel like nobody chooses me. Nobody chooses Marsha. She probably felt like that. And I get it. Like, it can be upsetting to feel like you're not the chosen one ever. But when it's for something that's for the greater good, like you gotta put yourself to the side against this, because these people about to destroy all of us.
Basically.
And you keep thinking that you're gonna be a white woman, you're gonna fall apart at the wrong time.
And you're gonna be dead.
Twerking on that wall at the wrong time.
Do what?
Twerking on that wall at the wrong time. How was she, Candace? Because I saw you doing it on the video the other day.
I saw you.
Oh my God, it was funny.
So just to be clear, you saw Candace twerking on the wall. Got it. But yeah, so I just feel like that moment with Ruby, and with her having to be what we thought would be the savior, I knew it was failing if she had to do it. Like, I did not think she was going to be able to do it.
She was not going to come through.
Just because she kept pulling on Letty, like, you so worried about Tick and them. I don't care about Tick. That's not my concern. And then Letty had to hit it with the, I'm pregnant. And still, she was just like, I mean, I think that did motivate her to be like, okay, let me see.
Motivate her to get killed.
Yeah, girl. Right.
Well, we don't know.
So those people actually did, or they just living in are they in a coma?
I don't know. I think they're in a coma because
Christina
she had to
Bright
keep
was
them.
like, now I can be a black woman whenever I want to, and I can blend and go here and go there.
I mean, she wouldn't want to.
She's not the right one to blend. Ruby not the right one.
She's not the white one at all.
Right.
No, I'm saying like if Christina wants to.
I'm just saying her
black.
being Ruby is not, because too many people know Ruby. She need to be a regular black person.
Ruby Baptiste.
So
then when we get to the actual scene, first of all, they left Dee in the car, which was very concerning for me. I didn't like it. It's like, y'all gonna leave her again after she done lost his arm.
That poor child.
And so then they all go trying to make it work. They set up this anti-spell. I'm sorry. As a spell against the spell that Christina was doing. So they was going to use the power that Christina was using and flip it on her and make it be against her. Because Tick had eaten that white man's meat and drank that blood. That was disgusting. So that, because all three elements.
It wasn't even the right blood.
It wasn't. So it wasn't going to work anyway. All three of the elements had to be bound, like him, Christina, and Titus. Like, it had to be that. So with that whole thing, like, once I realized that wasn't the real blood, I was like, we screwed now. We screwed. There's nothing we can do. And then them townspeople started collecting them, and then she kicked Letty out that window. I said, that's it.
Woo! When she kicked out that window, that girl was falling.
Girl, forever. Alicia Keys.
Falling like Alicia, right. I was like, oh. And she pregnant.
I didn't like apparently after this show, I had to look into it.
Didn't she put the spell back on her, though?
Yeah, that's what they said, but we didn't know that prior to that happening. So that's why I thought Letty was dead. Like, when she was laying in that hay, I was like, Letty's out of here. But apparently they were saying when that was the only promise that Christina made to Ruby, that she would not hurt Letty. So she put the invincibility back on her, I guess, in that moment. But I was like, so you're going to keep your promise for that, but you're going to kill Ruby? How that make sense? But anyway, so then...
Because sometimes people sacrifice themselves. So, see, if you just band together with people, you might not have to be the ultimate sacrifice. Jesus already died on the cross for our sins.
Take that on the cross too, girl.
Yes,
Slash them arms open. That was so gross. It was a lot of blood for me.
Gross, man. You know how to do blood.
Yeah, Trae do not do
We
blood.
watch so much Grace.
I know, but it's like the way that it was just.
They slice people's legs open all the time
it
like
was
that.
Gushing. But like Christina, did she have on white to start?
I believe
And then it was just all covered in blood after that. It was just
knew
so
she
sick.
was about to go to the upper
She did.
room.
She did. She was like, I'm about to be it and all. She basically was like, she wanted to be.
She was getting her Regina George on.
She wanted to live every single experience, be in every single moment, like omnipresent, basically, so that she can have the power. Whereas her father just wanted to be invincible because he felt like if you can't get hurt, you'll be fine. And she felt like she wanted to experience life.
The thing is, though, she knew already that she couldn't do it.
She didn't know for sure. Once she got Tick to do what she wanted
I'm just saying, but it proves it. She already said her being a woman, she could never get to where she wanted to be. And it still didn't happen for you, sis. You did all that for what? I don't even want to call you sis.
So that scene when we had to figure out how we combined them and Letty came with like praying and everything and she was just like, you ain't got no power. You ain't got no power. It ain't going to work. And Letty kept going. I was like, that... praying grandmother's girl. That's the prayer.
Undying faith.
Power of a praying woman. And so she kept going. She kept saying like the spell because that's what they were gonna do. Because she was just like, it's just not working yet. She didn't know at that moment. I mean, she should have known that the blood wasn't gonna work because it wasn't real.
I know it was the blood.
And so all of that was going on. So then Gia becomes the Camijo, and she connects Christina and Tick. And Tick has Titus's meat in there, and Christina has the blood, like, so all of that. And then she was able to switch the course and make it so that what Christina wanted to do wasn't happening. It was literally like the second episode, Whitey's on the Moon, when they used the power against them to get rid of them. And we see Letty come out, the victor, with the book, and she was like, she bound her from magic. She said, no, all white people. That right there, that's genius. That, I was just so happy, because sometimes we just think about one problem, like, let's just get rid of Christina. Let's not let her have magic. When we know they're going to teach their children. It's just like, that's how hate is continued. You feel like
It's like we want Trump out the White House, but he still got all his minions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if we could just do that to all the white people now and just
Letty
put a leash on this racism and block it in a cage for life. I wonder how black people would act after that. Like, are we so traumatized that we would still see a white person and hate them?
Of course.
Or is it like...
They can't do nothing now. They don't feel that way.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what a post-racial world would be like. I don't know. So, and by racial, I don't mean the differences. I mean the circumstances of the differences. Yeah. So, I don't know what that would be like. But we see that then the thing that really killed me is Christina just begging for their mercy. And it's like, you want us to have mercy?
How?
Like, that's really
life, though.
It is really life. And they always just like leaving her there like, she's nothing, it doesn't matter. And Dee was like, no, we need to handle this.
I'm finna kill.
Yeah, like some things you need to put an end to. There needs to be no chance, no light of day, none of that. Because nothing good is going to come of it.
Children
like,
murdering now.
No, not saying that she should, but I think it's showing like the next generation has the power and the will to end these things. Like they're going to be the ones that break generational curses and end these stupid ways that things have been, these dumb traditions that make no sense. They're going to be the ones because they see the effect and they also can see a better outcome. So it's certain things where like Letty and them was so connected that it might have affected how they were carrying Christina. Because all of them had different relationships and connections to her. So it could have just been like, okay, Tick, not that he would have said it, but like, okay, she my cousin. Okay, okay, she did look out for Ruby, so let's not kill her. Let her live. Like things like that where people have some sort of mercy for this person. Yeah. When somebody else that came in that just looked at the facts and was like, no, none for you. And it's just crazy that it had to be that. But I don't think it's encouraging child killers. It's clear. I think it's just saying like the next generation should come and build off of the shoulders of the one before it to do better and greater things. Christina needed to go. Because, I mean, she could have just taught other people.
Right, because just because she can't do it.
Yeah, but they are bound, but if you get back to the magic, they can undo that. It's a spell. It's a spell. So... it literally can. It's just like us searching for the Infinity Stones. But yeah. So, overall, how did y'all feel about the series? Like, moments, everything, effects, all of that. Overall, how did y'all feel about the series?
I felt like the series was invigorating.
That's it. It's not all one word. So,
I felt like it was an original series. It wasn't like anything I ever seen before, which was really good. Very interesting. Very symbolic. Like a lot of things that you saw was always like a double meaning, which was really nice. It was deep.
Yeah, I think
it was scary though. But the scary thing for me is not actually the monsters and all that, but the fact that like if we really like just think about it, if we really put our minds back in the 50s and the 60s, like our grandparents and our grandparents were literally living and dealing with this type of stuff, but it wasn't like magic that was causing this evil. It was just pure evilness, Like, oh, they have spells and all that stuff. That's putting it light. Like, in reality, they were just treating people like this, black people, our grandparents like this, because they could.
Well, I mean, I think the magic speaks to I think we said before, like the privilege, because you got to think it's bigger than them. So yes, one white person hates you, but you also have different systems like in the government, redlining, and you know how they dealt with public assistance and how they assisted blacks, like banks not giving you money, like all of those sort of things. Those are higher than just that one person,
right?
And I think that's what the magic from the white spoke to. It's like there's certain things that's in motion that you don't even have a clue are happening, and you just thinking like, oh, this is what, because you know. Candace's favorite scene when he was knocking that popcorn all about with that boy.
Oh my God.
Yo, I just watched it again the other day.
I just like when Letty came running out of that bathroom.
I watched it again the other day, and he literally had popcorn still coming out that thing every single time they threw him. But like in that moment, it's like we thinking about, okay, this white woman is putting us in danger, but it's deeper than that. This is a black woman in a white woman's body where white people are trying to use her so that they can take over and make, like, it's so much deeper than that. And I think that's how it is. Like, even down to him just going to the movie theater. Now we got colored entrances because they don't want us out here with them fraternizing because we might fall in love with one of them. We might procreate. We might make them have people that they have to respect and see as equal. Like, it's so much deeper. And I think that's why, to me, the show was scary on a real level. Like, the monsters are scary, yes, but the reality is scarier. And like you said, like, our grandparents literally lived through segregation and all of that. And Ruby Bridges' mother just passed the other day. So it's like, it's not that far away. Yeah. It's not that far removed. And they were saying that they do a lot of the civil rights pictures in black and white, so we can think it's such a long time ago. And it's really not. It really wasn't.
If you think it was 1920 whole time, it'd be like 1957.
So, and I think, yeah, I think this show, the biggest selling point for me was how original it was and how different it was, because there's so many things like, oh, what can you really compare this to? You have to compare it to a variety of things to make this one. And I think now this has set the standard in the bar for so many other genres that might come, like blending genres and, you know, different things, of different takes on history and how they make it relatable and approachable and entertaining, but also informative.
Right.
And I really, really like that, you know, as a historian. So it's just, this show, I'm glad I watched it. I appreciate Jordan Peele, Misha Green, all of the amazing talents on the screen and behind the camera. And it just gives me hope in the future of black television and black creativity, that there's so much more. Like I said, I hope we don't keep going down the horror lane, but I understand why they're doing it, blazing trails. And I'm just glad to know with black creators.
Being a black person is horrific sometimes.
That is true. It's true.
I mean, when you watch Get Out, that was a horror film.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they're doing that at, but they probably are somewhere. And do not take me. Do not take me.
But yeah, so I just think if you can watch the series and get how you feel and your opinions. If it's not for you, you can be like Fee and jump off the ship anytime. But support
Why did Fee jump ship?
It was after the Holy Ghost episode.
The basement one?
Yeah.
Oh, she wasn't with it?
There's a lot of spirits. You know, she probably was like, But I think we all, as black people that are committed to desiring and demanding excellence in television, movies, film, whatever, we need to make sure that we support things like this, that listen to us and that give us something new to talk about, something new to think, something new to feel, because otherwise we're going to be saying the same thing, like, oh, what happened to shows like such and such.
And I think one of my favorite things about the show is that you could learn so much from it. Like, you could always learn from shows, but this show really had so much that if you really took the time to like look up some stuff, you'd be like, "Oh wow!"
Right, like the Sundown Town thing. I didn't even know about that until that episode, and like Trace was telling me, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, girl,
crazy.
It's some towns still you can't.
Girl, it's some parts of the city.
Right, forget the town.
Like
city's a town, guys.
City.
But seriously, when we used to go to South Carolina for like family, we supposed to swap every year. They come up here and then we go down there. But I remember one time we went down South Carolina and somebody was like, "No, y'all, like seriously, don't let the police catch y'all out here at night." And I was like,
yo, and it's just so sick to me.
Let me stay on this lane.
It's so sick to me because they wonder where this relationship with black people and the cops come from.
Right.
And you see it all throughout history. There's evidence all throughout. So for them to just deny it is just infuriating. But yeah.
You know what they say?
What?
Stand back and stand by.
They did say that. But
they ain't standing by now. You see that man getting beat on that video?
The Trump supporter?
Yeah, the orange and black jacket.
He was beating them up first.
Yeah, and then when that man socked him.
But they only showed the part.
They only
showed the part where he was getting beat up.
Don't feel bad for him, right?
So, Lil Saint, in closing, anything that you want to talk about, promote, let the people know you got coming forward?
Again, like I said, hoodies are out online for pre-order. They will be available for local pickup and begin shipping this Friday, November 20th. November 20th. I was about to say 11/20, but it's November 20th. Also, trucker hats just dropped some black and green industrial truckers. They went crazy. They sold out last week, so they restocked online this week. And we're just going to keep coming. Just keep coming strong. You know, winter is here in my Game of Thrones voice because it was cute, whatever. You know, last year it wasn't that bad, but it's starting to get really cold really quick. So I'm just letting y'all know.
Winter is not even here yet, so y'all be prepared.
Right, so get them sweatsuits.
But it is cold AF outside.
It is. So that's at Cinco de Mula on Instagram, my personal page. I promote a lot of stuff firsthand there. And then the business page is at Saintuso. Boom.
Drops mic. So you guys can definitely reach her there at Saintuso online and Cinco de Mula on your social medias, and you can email us, and we'll page the word through. I guess we can charge a little fee if she's like, no, we'll let her know if you need to email us, if you remember that, at blackgirlbroadcast@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on social media on Instagram at blackgirl.broadcast_BGB, on Twitter at BLKGRL Broadcast, and on Facebook by searching Black Girl Broadcast.
And, of course, you know that you are supposed to be out advertising for us, telling your friends that they should listen to us because you listen to us and you enjoy us. And that's why you come back every freaking week.
Every freaking week.
Because y'all love us. So, on your favorite podcast sites.
Humility.
No, you're not.
Talk about reality. I mean...
Yes, I just want to shout y'all out because y'all been doing what y'all need to do. And I am proud of y'all. Y'all is stepping. Y'all some big steppers right now, okay?
Wow. Big steppers.
Big
really like that
steppers
song
right now. Yeah.
But yeah, so tell them to follow us on their favorite podcast site. And they can search for us under BGB Black Girl Broadcast. Also, because we're so cute and popping, and we have fun guests,
and we wearing nice merch,
for sure, because you want to see what you buy, go to YouTube and follow BGB Black Girl Broadcast, because you can just subscribe, get the notifications. Don't just subscribe.
Click the bell.
And you'll know, like, oh my gosh, the girls, they're on.
Yeah, and you'll love it. And you'll leave us nice reviews and comments. And just run those numbers up, guys. If you don't have nice things to say, don't. If you have nice things to say it all day long.
First of all, what did we learn from that Tekashi documentary earlier?
I could not believe. I'm not watching it.
I was watching it. I'm not going to lie. I was watching it because I was interested. And Trinice came in with this face of disgust. And I was like, I just wanted to know what happened. Like.
And this is how they get you.
I got 30 minutes left. I haven't finished it, but I was like...
I cut it right off when she left.
I thought about canceling that Hulu once I saw it.
It was...
Wow.
They are
honestly,
just
from a documentary point of view, it's really not. Like, he's not physically, like, talking. It's just a bunch of old footage of him. It's like somebody just patched everything together.
Yeah, that's typically what happens.
Because he just needs some money.
That is true.
But he's not even really in it.
Until the next time... Support Black owned.
That's
Recognize Black. Shout that out.
Happy National Entrepreneurs Day. Technically, would you guys be considered entrepreneurs? Yes. Yeah.
I mean, individually, we are entrepreneurs already.
That is true. And then also collectively, I guess this is an entrepreneurial effort.
It is.
I know, girl. Hopefully they might hear me whispering to you that they could just always try to invest in us. But you know.
That's right. Donations.
Until next time.
Yeah, I had something earlier. I should have wrote it down like Frox usually does.
When you be saying stuff, because typically she be saying body y'all, but when she be dropping nuggets, girl, they be nuggets. I still was putting Chick-fil-A sauce on that nugget you gave last time. She said, "Dang it, it was something about your roots."
Oh, be grounded, but watch those roots.
Yes, girl, I've been all week. That was good, right? So normally she just be like, bye. But when she really got something to say, y'all better listen. Do you have anything to say?
Not anything deep, but I will say, love a black woman. Just when you see one, just give her some love. Just, like a hey girl or hey girl. How you doing, beautiful? You know how y'all do. Let me put my, how you doing, beautiful?
Not y'all DM niggas. They not talking to y'all.
Right.
Physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually. All of that.
But it don't even have to be, hey. It don't even have to be on no flirting stuff. Like, just, if you just show love more, then you wouldn't have so many thirsty women probably. Because it's like, oh, I don't get it, so when I do, no, he just saying hi, sis. So, sorry, black women, I don't mean to play y'all right now. But just, if you show us more love, it'll just be a regular thing, and y'all just be building us up like we need to be built up because we always need to be replenished because we giving so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Replenish a black woman. That's what I'm going to say.
Wow. You see, I told you. So Saintuso, we really appreciate you kicking it with us on the show. And she said something. I mean, if she wants to say something else. But yeah, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate your input and everything that you brought to the show. Your perspective is important, and we love when you come by the studio. We love you.
You be really popping when you come through.
You do be.
I love coming here.
We know. We like to bring you back.
We know.
It's like a what?
It's like a little. I feel like I'm on Hot 97 or something like that. Next time I come on freestyle for y'all, I'm not prepared.
No, go ahead. Let's see.
I'm not prepared today. No,
that's not a freestyle then.
I'm going to no.
Come on,
not right.
Megan can freestyle off of nothing.
Yeah, let's speak
shout out to Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, speak her to an existence.
GQ rapper of the year. I love me some Megan.
Yeah,
shout out to the hot girl.
Yes, replenish
the
her.
real hot girls, not y'all fake hot girls.
Right, hot Cheetos.
I'm sick of y'all.
Blame hot Cheetos.
Anyway, thank y'all for your support. Thank you for being here. Watch Lovecraft. Replenish a black woman.
Shop Saintuso. Get your fist up.
Oh. I thought she
dropped something. I did.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
She was running
up. No, she dropped. You did that, and I put my head to the side like,
get your fist up.
Do it. All right, we going. Bye.